going to be doing an assessment of the tissue and bone health around your teeth. So I'm going to have you hold on to this laminate for me, and I just want to walk you through what we call the progression of disease. So we're going to be taking some measurements along the gum line of each tooth today. So I just want to explain what those numbers mean and what I want you to be listening for while we're doing these measurements. So in a healthy mouth, what we're going to see here, in this picture, you'll see a ruler. Little here, it goes underneath the gum line. Basically, that tells us where the tissue and bone lies on the tooth. And so what we want to see in this space is 1 to 3 millimeters. So that's the space between your tissue and your tooth where your floss fits. We need that to stay nice and shallow so that we can keep the bacteria out of there and we can reduce our risk of infection. So in a healthy mouth, again, we're going to see 1 to 3 millimeters. When we look at your tissue, we're going to see that there's no infection. That means the tissue is pink and firm. There's no puffiness, redness, or bleeding. And when we look at your x-rays here straight across, we can see the bone level actually completely surrounds the root of the tooth, so that the crown of the tooth, the portion that we can see when we smile, is the only portion not covered by bone. The next level is gingivitis. So a lot of people have heard, advertisements to treat gingivitis, and what does that actually mean? Well, actually that's an infection in the tissue. So we see here the 1 to 3 millimeter pocket, and it can be a little bit deeper from time to time, but generally what that indicates is that there's infection in the tissue. The tissue is red and inflamed, and there's bleeding when we take these measurements. Because this is localized to the tissue, there's no bone deterioration at this point. So this is actually completely reversible with the proper treatment. If we don't treat that in a timely manner, what we'll see is that this infection actually spreads from the tissue into the bone. So we'll start to see this measurement progress to 4 to 6 millimeters. Again, there's infection in the tissue and in the bone now. And so when we look at your x-rays, we actually start to see the bone deteriorate or kind of slide it away from the crown of the tooth. If we don't treat that in a timely manner, that bacteria just continues to progress and make this space even deeper. So 7 millimeters and beyond is what we consider to be advanced bone loss or advanced periodontal disease. There is infection, again, still in the tissue and the bone. The tissue is red and inflamed, bleeds very easily when I'm taking these measurements. And when we look at your x-rays, we can see that there's 5 millimeters and greater of bone loss, which we can appreciate on the x-rays there. So just in general, I just want to recap. We want to see 1s, 2s, and 3s here. We want to see the tissue be healthy, no bleeding, no puffiness, no tenderness when I'm taking these measurements. If we're not seeing those things today, we just want to talk about what we can do to get you there. Okay? Any questions for me at all?
No.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and sit you back here, and I'm just going to be calling out these numbers to my assistant here.